sometimes we can pass variable number of arguments to our function. So in any other programming languages, if you observe, the number of arguments that are written during definition of the function, exactly those many arguments we are supposed to pass. But sometimes we do not know how many arguments we supposed to pass. So in that case, we can take the help of this variable length arguments. And this can be done by writing this asterisk symbol. Like you can see here, we are defining a function, and here we have given this asterisk followed by this n. So this asterisk is indicating that this function can take any number of parameters. Now that could be 0 also. Now internally, whatever parameters I'm going to pass, suppose I'm passing 3 parameters here. So all these 3 parameters will be in the form of a tuple. Let's understand with this example. So here we have taken a function, say sum, and this asterisk n indicates that this sum function is able to take as many arguments as possible as per requirement. Now what we have done inside this body is we took some variable total equal to 10, and we are taking a for loop, and n1 in this n, suppose n, maybe you have some arguments you have passed, and we are just adding the value of n1 to the total, and by the end of this for loop we are finally printing the value of the total. So we have called this sum function for the first time, and we can see there are no arguments passed, which means this n has no arguments at all. So there are no arguments means this for loop has nothing to do. So as a result, for the first time when this statement gets executed, the total value is nothing but 0 only. Right? Now, for the second time when you are calling this sum function with 10, so we have one parameter, one argument we have specified. So this n is going to carry only 10. Now, this for loop n1 in n, that is only one value we have. So 10 is added to the existing value of total, that is 0 plus 10 makes it 10 here. Now third time when I'm calling the same function sum, this time we have called with 2 parameters. So now this n is referring to 2 parameters in the tuple. So when we are going through this tuple having 10, 20, so 10 is added to total, then 20 is added to the total. As a result, finally it is going to print 30. In the last one, we have called the same sum function, but this time we have passed 4 parameters. So this n is now referring to 4 parameters, and this for loop n1 is going to take up 10, 20, 30, 40, which will be added to the updated values of total, and as a result we are going to get 100. So by using this asterisk n here, we are able to call the same function with variety of arguments. So here the length of argument is 0, here it is 1, here it is 2, and here it is 4. So once we have used this asterisk followed by some name, so we are allowed to call that particular function with any number of arguments of our choice. Now, along with this variable length arguments, we can also combine your positional argument. So let's see this. We are defining a function, say fun. So n1, this is a positional argument, and this asterisk itself indicates that this is a variable length argument. So here what I am doing is we are trying to print what is the value of this positional argument, and based upon what this variable length argument refers to, I am just going through that particular list of items, and we are displaying like variable args followed by v. Now for the first time when I am calling fun of 10, so because there are positional arguments, so this 10 is being taken up by n1, which means for this variable length arguments, I am not supplying any value here, which means this is 0 length. So as a result, what will happen? Because n1 is taken up this 10, so I'll be getting the output like positional arg, that is n1, which is nothing but 10. So we got this. And this for loop is not going to execute because there is nothing available inside your S. Now for the second time, when I'm calling the same function, this time we have passed 4 arguments. So out of these 4 arguments, because the first one is a positional argument. So this 10 will be taken by this n1 and remaining 3 will be considered by your s in the form of a tuple. So as a result, when I'm printing n1 value, so the positional arg is 10, and by taking this for loop, we are able to traverse through this tuple, that is nothing but holding 3 items 20, 30, 40. So for the first time, v is going to take 20. As a result, I am going to get variable args followed by 20. Next time the v is going to look into the 30. So I get variable args equal to 30. And for the last time, the v is going to take up 40. So we get this variable args equal to 40. So here this call has no argument or 0 arguments have been supplied for this variable length, whereas here we have supplied 3. Okay. Now you can increase the number of positional arguments. So if you increase the positional argument accordingly, those many arguments from the beginning, they might be taken up here, and the remaining whatever is left out, they will be taken up by the variable length argument. So in the previous example, we have started with keyword or positional argument followed by your variable length. Now suppose after variable length argument, if you are taking any other argument, then we must use the keyword argument. Like you can see here, in this there are 2 arguments. So first we have taken up this variable length argument, and second is nothing but your another argument. Now in this context, whenever you call this function, because this s can take up any number of arguments, but it is compulsory that I have to supply a value for this n1 also. So as a result, each time you call this function, so this is nothing but, that last one is nothing but what? Your keyword argument. So this keyword argument becomes your compulsory. Now, apart from this, whatever number of arguments you specify, they are going to be taken up by the variable length argument. So in this case, what has happened? This a and b are now being referred by s. So by taking this for loop here, I am just printing the a and b, variable args a, variable args b. And coming to this print statement, which is printing the value of n1, which I have set here 10. So it is compulsory for me to supply the value for this n1. So one value is fixed for that. And before that, whatever number of arguments we supply, they are going to be considered as your variable length arguments. So in this case here, a and b are taken up. So we must be careful when you are writing this order. Okay. I mean, first if you write variable length argument followed by any other argument, then for the remaining argument or arguments, you have to specifically supply a value. Whereas if you are writing the variable length argument at the last in the sequence of arguments, then you have an option of leaving it 0 also. We can also declare keyword variable length arguments, and for this we can use 2 asterisks. In case of your variable length arguments, we have already seen we have used only 1 asterisk, but this time we have to take 2 asterisk. Now we can call this function by passing any number of keyword arguments, and internally all these keyword arguments are stored inside a dictionary. So when we have seen already, in case of variable length arguments, all the argument that we have specified, they are stored in the form of a tuple. Whereas in case of your keyword variable length argument, everything will be stored in the form of a dictionary. Now let's see one example. Say we have taken a function here, display. We have used this to use 2 asterisks followed by some keyword. Any name you can give, maybe A, B, C, D, anything you can give. So we have given some KW args. Now because we understand this is going to deal with a dictionary, and dictionary usually has 2 parts in each item, that is key and a value. Now when I'm going to call this function display for the first time, where we have passed a key and a value. So this n1 equal to 10. So where n1 is going to behave like a key and 10 is the corresponding value. Very similarly, n2 equal to 20, n2 behaves like a key and 20 is the corresponding value. Similarly, n3 is the key and 30 is the corresponding value. Now when this call has been made, the control goes here, and this kw args is going to take up all these elements in the form of a dictionary, where this n1 is going to be the key and 10 is the corresponding value, n2 is the key, 20 is the corresponding value. Similarly, n3 is the key and 30 is the corresponding value. So now we have already seen in dictionary there is a function like items, which is going to bring each of the item present in the dictionary. Because this dictionary has, each item has two parts, so we are trying to take two variables here, k and v, so that k is going to take up the keys, whereas v is going to take up the values of the corresponding key. So when I'm trying to print the value of k as well as v, in this context we will be getting this n1 equal to 10, n2 equal to 20 and n3 equal to 30. Very similarly, second call that we have made display, this time we have sent 4 items here, and once again this is going to be the key and this will be the corresponding value, like name is the key, Rahul is the value, marks is the key and 70 is the corresponding value, and subject is the key and Java is the corresponding value of it. So when this goes into this function definition, this kw args is going to take up this entire list of arguments in the form of a dictionary, and key and values have been taken up from it, and we are trying to display the key and the corresponding value, like a roll number, that is RNO equal to 100, and name is Rahul, marks is 70 and subject is Java. So the basic difference between your keyword variable length argument and your variable length argument is the elements are taken up in the form of a dictionary in case of your keyword variable length arguments, whereas in variable length arguments the items or the elements will be stored inside a tuple.